Hello, advocate.
Yeah, Capo. Good morning. Things are just not Capo. We are looking. We just see how things that they happen. We see how they struggle. They go left to right. That one not being now my biggest frustration. So that's just it. Nothing really specific. Capo Daniel. Nothing really specific. I don't think anything is specific here. But the only thing I feel talk now say a lot of mistakes they don't be made for this struggle. A lot of mistakes has been made in this struggle. I have been your critic, your number one critic. Yes. For things that you have done that has hurt this struggle, knowingly or unknowingly. But they knew you, despite the fact that I've been criticizing you, not criticizing you because I hate you, but because there are certain things that are very, very detrimental for this struggle. Since you left ACOFC, I've been following you back to back. I've ever been following you, no matter that I was criticizing you. I've ever followed you step by step to get an in-depth of what you're doing, to keep track. Since you left the ACOFC, despite the wahala and whatsoever, your new stand, although I don't accept 100% in your approach or the way you want to do things, but there are certain things that you say that are very important for the life of this struggle that we have to take very serious. And this is what I have been preaching for. This is what we have been calling all the so-called leaders to understand that the struggle is paramount. You understand? The struggle is not all about leadership or group. The struggle is all about the people. So we have to look for means to survive our people collectively. So there's nothing extra that I really wanted us to talk about, but it's to really have this conversation to understand your position, what you also think about the struggle, and what you intend to achieve with your approach, and how visible your approach is.
Yeah, there sometimes in life there's not everything you can address. I think because you have to choose things that you address. So I don't know, when you always talk about this thing that you have heard people say things like that, I don't always know what you're really talking about, or that you're new you. I don't know what is actually new about me. But there is one thing you should know. As a young man who have grown up in that country, from Catholic school, I've gone to mission school, all type of schools, and I've lived in all the parts of our territories for the most part. This is our struggle, and this is our time to have an effect in our land. I believe this is a God-ordained struggle. But just because something is ordained does not mean that it will just go as smooth. If you study the Bible, even as a Christian or a non-Christian, you read the stories that are there. You see that when God promised to remove the Hebrew people from Egypt, it was the longest journey they have ever had. They walked through the desert for 40 years, a journey that they could take for 40 days. And none of them did not even arrive. Apart from Joshua, none of them did not arrive. All of them died. Simply because it is God ordained does not mean that we are going to succeed. We have really tried our best. I think right from the beginning of when the struggle started, we all try our best from all over the world. Come to know people on social media, know them personally, but it's a journey of all of us. And I believe very strongly in what I do. I've come out to have certain conclusions. I've had different conclusions at different times. And every time have its own reason. Yes, I've pursued the struggle through our own, looking for a way forward, looking for how consensus could be made, how decisions could be made. But everything that we have done so far have not worked, have not given us the result we expected. When the struggle started, our population would have expected us to have progress by now. But unfortunately, if you take the struggle and tell people you travel back in time and tell people 6 years ago that this is how the struggle is going to be, I'm sure a lot of people would have not allowed us to go forward the way we went forward for the struggle. So I believe that we have failed. We have failed to produce result. There is not a single country that supports Ambazonia independence or are ready to recognize us. As a matter of fact, there are more and more countries that are more aggressive against us than they are friendly to us. So the Cameroon state have had more and more support since this struggle started. They have been criticized, they have been pressurized. But right now, the situation there is not in our favor. It's not in our favor. I've come to the conclusion that we cannot pursue a path that is not attainable because it is very dangerous. If we try to fight for independence, the more we try to fight for independence, it benefits Cameroon right now. And it also put us in a position where we may never even have the independence in the future if we burn out all our candle now. So I've come to this conclusion. I think it's needless for me to analyze to you what I see, the dangers I see, and the reasons why I come to this conclusion. But right now, I'm pursuing a path for devolution of Cameroon to grant Ambazonian independence as a means to be able to save our independence, so that even though we cannot have it now, in the future, we will be able to have it. If we pursue a path where in the future it will not be possible for us to have it, because that is very possible. If you look at other histories around the world, we can burn our candle completely and we'll never be able to light it again. So this is the path I've chosen. This is the path I believe is attainable. And I believe this is the solution that we have right now from all the partisanship and all the misbehaviors we have seen. So it's a very tough battle because you need to lead the people. It's not just you are doing something for yourself or what you believe in. You need to lead the people in that direction. So I'm in the course of doing that. I'm engaged in educating people, talking to people to really explain myself so that they should understand the position we have taken, and the people who are in my organization, that we believe this is the best interest for the public and is the best interest for the liberation for us to pursue this path. We have secured already a very substantial international support, and we are now in the process of engaging in a formal process of making an offer on this line. So we have a robust campaign, a international campaign, not just based on our people, but we have to also engage our people with exactly what we have. We have finished the document. The documentation is done already. It's called, as I have mentioned to you, is something that I've put out publicly there. It's called a peace plan document, which is an offer for a just solution that can end the war and choose a path where we can pursue our self-determination through peaceful means. It's going to be able to release our prisoners, get our diasporans who accept this approach a chance to come back home, and our refugees to come back home. We have a three-point approach. One is directly to campaign within the international community, the state parties, to get their support to this solution. And we believe we have made a lot of progress in preparing the ground. We have done a lot of a probing international engagement to prepare the ground, and the prospects are very good. We also have a carrot approach, which is to approach economic interest stakeholders in West Africa. We have identified companies that wanted to invest in Cameroon and in Ambazonia, but have not been able to do so because of reservation due to the war, so that we can engage them in specific programs to invest back in our country in minerals and in other big ways to bring this investment in case we have this solution, as a bargaining with La Republic to tell them, okay, look, if you accept this solution, these companies are willing to come in and contribute in this sector, bring direct investment, so that you don't need to spend a lot of money in this territory. These people are ready to work with this solution. We have also been able to engage Cameroon companies, huge international companies that are invested in Cameroon, to get them to buy into this solution, to use them also as part of our carrot approach, to tell the Cameroon state that, okay, these are your own big investment, they support this thing, and they are willing to put back a portion of their benefits in their businesses in your country and in Ambazonia back into this program, so that the Cameroon is not worried about spending money there. We have learned how the economy in Cameroon works and how the international community benefits, and the stakeholders that have the power, they how they benefit. Our third approach is with our people, to tell them that this is the right thing, to engage them to embrace this solution, and to our soldiers and those who have involved in the movement, to tell them, okay, this is a better option. If our soldiers, we have this autonomy, this is what they can have. They can be integrated in our municipal police. They can also benefit directly in job employment and retraining, to give them new career for those who don't want to participate in this type of things, to have them a future, and cessation of hostility with the state of Cameroon, where they don't pose a direct threat to each other, and they can be able to return back to their civilian life if they choose to, without any threat or without being used like some type of evil that is going on with the DDR. So we have a very good program from them. We have a very good program for our political prisoners and those who are in the diaspora to come back home. And let us see how we can work within our own government and participate in the institutions that the devolution will bring back home. So it's a very thoughtful program that we have developed, a well 360 program, to make sure that we bring justice and peace back home, and maybe give the next generation the possibility to have independence. And this devolution is going to secure our territorial integrity within the Constitution of Cameroon, to have the Constitution amended so that our state is clearly presented as a state with its territorial boundaries, than give our people a chance to preserve their identity. So this is the best option that we think is good to protect our public interest, and is good for our country. And we think that we will have the necessary international backing and the necessary economic backing to be able to make a difference. And if we fail because Cameroon refuse or reject this and we succeed in the international diplomacy, we think it will ultimately Ambazonia will be the winner, because then the international community may have a rethink of the current hostile position they have taken against us, and see Cameroon for who they are, a country that is not willing to make any concession. So, but within the Cameroon government, we have seen a lot of flexibility towards this project, and the Cameroon government have listened. I think they have paid attention to the international stakeholders which we have engaged, who have directly engaged the Cameroon government of the possibility of what we are talking about. But there are also some people within Cameroon government who don't want any peace. They don't want any concession. They just want us to fight because the war benefits them, and they don't want this war to even stop. They will be even willing to help Ambazonia to continue fighting. So those people, they are there, and they pose a problem. In our own Ambazonia side, we also have people who also not want any solution. They want the war to keep on going on, whether we lose or win. They don't really care about that. For them, it's an ideological war. The human suffering and the human life does not really mean to them, because most of them, they are locked in their own logic, and they are trapped in that logic, and the toll of the war does not really concern them. So that is what we are doing, and I hope that by the time we have already finished the preparation of the documents, we have now sent it to international experts to take a look, because in this war, when people hear you come from Africa, people don't even respect what you do. They want to hear that a professor in Harvard University have taken a look in this document and say it is a good thing and make some recommendation and some endorsement. And those type of things are how international politics are done. So that when we have this proposal table, it will be a concrete and a serious proposal that the Cameroon government will have no choice but to engage on that basis. And I think we'll have enough pressure to get them, even thanks to take a second look at this issue. So that is what I'm doing. That's what my organization is doing. We have a very good team, and that is what we are trying to do.
Yeah, Capo Daniel, thank you very much for this elaborate explanation or brief explanation, because I think it's a little bit more broad that you cannot explain it in detail. I have some questions, or I don't know if I want to say recommendation to make as per your explanation. Capo Daniel, you agree with me that people make consensus in war to stop war because either one party is pushing hard and is going to conquer the other one, or both parties have seen that the war is very, very consequential on both sides. So there is a need for them to make a consensus to see how they can protect each other, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the second question I would like to ask you is, will you agree with me that La République is taking the option of a military victory because they want to conquer us, and because they don't think that we should have a consensus of sitting together on the table and discussing statutes that can give us that exclusive right or equal right like them? That is why they are using the military option to conquer us and then keep us under their control. Do you agree with that?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So now I have your what you're doing is very, very convincing and it's very, very genuine. It's part of war strategy, how to put pressure on parties in war. That is the international standard, how they can put pressure. Like you mentioned, company, you can get international company who want to invest, they can push Cameroon to say, okay, we want to invest this amount of money, but we cannot invest this money because of that. All those things you explain are things that are tools that are being used to settle disputes in war. But I have a problem with your approach, and that problem first one is your presentation. You agree with me that in war, when you're fighting with somebody, when you're having a conflict with somebody, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very clearly.
Yeah, when you agree with me that when you have a conflict with somebody you're fighting, once the fight begins and you people are still, pulling each other, the first objective of everyone is to win the other partner. But when the fight put on for long and nobody is able to challenge the other one, or the other one is trying to see that, no, if I persist, I can challenge this other one. And then somebody comes in the middle and share this fight, there can easily be a consensus, because even the person who was thinking that he was dominating, he is not 100% sure that he was going to be the other person. And the other person who was thinking that the other person was dominating him, he was still believing that he could still dominate this person. So at least in that position, both of them can find something concrete to agree on. But if you're fighting with someone and that person already show weakness, that I am already weak, you can conquer me, which your interest was to conquer that person. When you start showing that weakness, I don't think it is not good for your own advantage. Why I'm making this point is because when you say that the only option is for us to find a consensus with La République, because we cannot go this way, La République is going to defeat all. Yeah, the reality is that we cannot win La République militarily. Yes, that's a fact. At this present dispensation, we cannot win La République militarily. But for everybody hide his or her own card. We cannot completely open up our weakness in front of La République and then thinking that La République is just going to accept because we have this weakness. If we show our weakness completely to La République, what La République will do is that they will push for the military option because they know they have already weakened us. Secondly, if you pursue this path, it's a genuine path here. If you You see this part. If we keep the way you're presenting it, the choices of what you use, the way you put it in public, it already gives us that weakness. You know, sometimes when you are weak, they say don't show your weakness to your enemy. Because if you show your weakness to your enemy, he is going to take advantage of that weakness. So even if we get all these international partners, the strategy that you have put in place, we completely show weakness and we already expose our weakness to LRC. That this is who we are. LRC will be able to convince the international partners, the international community, to tell them that please give me a short period of time. I'm going to conquer these people. And those people will not be able to mount pressure on LRC. LRC rather will conquer us, and it will still give those international communities or those companies the same advantages that they are looking for. You understand? I don't know if you're getting my point. So what I'm trying to say in context is that if you want...
I heard what you have said. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
International politics do not work on assumption. They work on facts. They work on science. There is nothing that we are saying that the world don't know. When the people of Ukraine, they are fighting and they tell their president come and tell their population that without American support, they are going to lose the war. They are about to lose the war. That is just how politics work. It's only in Ambazonia where we think that people don't know what is happening. It's because you say something, then that is a problem. If you reverse that same logic, you go back to history and you realize that Paul Biya came to the public in France in a public stage and said that they have failed to assimilate Ambazonians. You take that same logic and you say that the same Paul Biya and his party that says that our problem do not exist, we are part of their country, had called for a grand national dialogue where they accepted that our country have a root in self-determination to join them. You still look at all that part and you make the same conclusion to Paul Biya and say that you are showing weakness, you are doing all these things, you are giving these people hope that you cannot defeat them. The same national dialogue concluded that there is no military victory over us. Everybody knows these things. The war is not about if you bury your head under the sand, people will think you, and then you think that the war have disappeared and the war have disappeared. No, it's just science. You have to know that the way diplomacy work is before you are pushing out a campaign, the world know why you are pushing out the campaign. The Cameroon government have taken certain steps. We are not a struggle that you can compare our strength with any struggle that have gone on in the past 10 years that have resulted or were fighting for sovereignty. Our struggle is the weakest. In terms of our military strength, in terms of our diplomatic effort, it is the weakest if you go back in history and you look. So the concessions I'm making, the narrative I'm putting out is part of the negotiation process. The Cameroon government sees rhetoric itself as part of that process. They started up by making certain ridiculous statements about us. That has pushed us to embrace similar ridiculous statements about them. For us to be able to even sit down with them, it is needed for us to walk back ourselves into conformity with international law. I'm telling you like somebody who is not just telling you what he wants, but somebody who have listened to what the international community wants and what they need. Somebody who have listened to what Cameroon want and what they need, and measure it with what our people want and what our people need, and think of the best way we can reach from one step to another. So all these things I'm saying is not weakness, it is actually strength. The last thing La République du Cameroon want is for us to be seen by the international community as pursuing a path that can attract the international community towards us. Believe me, what I'm doing is not weakness, it is strength. Sometimes it may appear like that because we sometimes we feel emotions of the struggle and we also have all these thoughts, but I want to assure you that whatever I'm doing is not weakness, it's something that is well informed, it's something that is well advised. So we have seen a lot of flexibility, especially during this time, as I've told our people, of the death of big number. You have seen the call for him to be used to humiliate our people. And you have seen how flexible the Cameroon government have shown with my appeal for them not to display his dead body or not to use him to humiliate us. Yes, there are people who are still fighting within the regime, but have had an unprecedented level of engagement with them, surprisingly, since I made this appeal. They have come out clearly, they have reached out to me, their political leaders, even their military leaders, and in a very humble manner, trying to explain themselves, even sometimes even implicating themselves and saying, look, this is not what we want, this is not what we are really doing. And I think those level of how engagement are going give you a very good indication on how people can react in the future. Those are the things that you can use to read people. We have already actively started with a state partner to build capacity for Ambazonia for this journey. It is an ongoing process that have already started in the highest level. So it is not something that we are just thinking of doing or imagining if we do like this, what will happen, this we do. Already we know what we are doing. So we have already engaged in that level of building the capacity already. So in due time, we are going to be able to give Ambazonia people a physical document for them to see what we are talking about. And this document, we are also going to take it to world leaders and show them what we are demanding. And even before we make that offer to Cameroon. So it's something I believe we have 1 year window to do. After this 1 year window, I will not think the same thing will be possible. God help us and we succeed, because I fear for our future if we fail. So our people may not have the sense of time, but this is what we really believe, and this is what we are doing. And I hope you take some time to consider what I've told you. And if it is something that you think you support, that will be very good for us, because we need everybody to support it. We need everybody who is reasonable to come on board, even those who don't come on board, to be able to appreciate it, so that our people can increasingly have hope in the future. Because right now the trend we see is bad. In the diaspora, increasingly people have already made up their mind that they are never going to come back in that land. People are now coming to terms with the fact that they will be buried abroad. Our refugees in Nigeria are now seeking almost permanent solutions there. The Nigerian government is also pushing for permanent solution there. On the ground, we are seeing the same thing. Our people being dismissed outrightly. So,
Capo Daniel, I have your how do you call it? Your devaluation approach. It makes sense, and I think your devaluation approach, is coming on the basis of the military option that we are taking now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever tried to sit down and study the constitutional how do I put it, the constitutional approach of us to separate from LRC? Do you have an in-depth knowledge on that? Because this war can be pursued in two directions. That is the military option that we are presently pursuing now, and the constitutional approach. So I don't know if you have an in-depth of the constitutional approach.
Well, my brother, what I can tell you is that I'm a very practical man. There is a war that we hope it is, and there is the war that actually is. In this war, when it comes to sovereignty, it is not just about technicalities or law. You quote this here and there, and then it's like a formula, a quadratic equation. If you balance the equation very well, you have a result you want. No, even results in law are determined by powers. Laws are nothing without powers that backs them. So those who are making the argument or if you quote this constitution, they have been doing that for how many years? It's like the people who come out, I'm telling them that we need to conform with international law. We have had a lot of garbage that have brainwashed our people about our existence, which are extremist views. They don't even allow people to think. Like yesterday I was talking, there was one guy in their forum there. who was talking about Ambazonians. We have been independent before. These are things that we have engaged in research work, and we have also engaged in international partners who have insisted to us that our position are extreme and are not in conformity with international law. Our territory have never been an independent country. It has never been. It is a sovereign state. That status have been engraved in Cameroon, and we are fighting to have it independent. But that does not mean that we are independent. So we have a lot of false assumptions that our people have made, which are extremes. So I've heard some people talk like that in your forum. They're saying that, oh, we are independent and all those things. I hope that is not the things you're trying to say.
No, Capo Daniel, what I'm trying to say, I'm talking about the constitutional approach. Even if you look at the 1961 constitution, it is clearly stipulated that in that particular constitution, that in case if we want to walk out of that union, there is a clause that guarantee it. You see, when
which
I'm
clause?
talking about
which
this,
clause?
I think article, if I'm not mistaken, 46 of that particular constitution.
Article 45
that
guarantees that the constitution cannot be changed, the form of the state cannot be changed. Yes. Article 45 that says that no amendment should not be made in the form of state, right? If they make it, it will be invalid.
It will be invalid, of course. And there is another clause that says that no individual can walk out of that. A group of people, if the Southern Cameroon people want to walk, they come like a people, not as individual. There is a particular clause just that I don't have that constitution here. I would have read out what is written there. So what I'm trying to say is that
I can assure you that there is no. I've read that document. There's nothing like that there. But go and check it. Just double check it. But go ahead and assume, say what you want to say about that. If that clause exists, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that there is an approach, that a constitutional approach that is very workable. You understand? We as a people, if we come together and want to take our sovereignty, it's very possible. It's true that the people of the NCNC, they have been trying and whatsoever. But now something has added to this thing, which is the military approach. At least the international community, the war has heard about us. You understand? This war, those who went into this war thinking that they were going to defeat La Republic militarily, we don't even have that capacity. We don't have that capacity to defeat La Republic militarily. No, we cannot do that. But it does not mean that we cannot fight and win La Republic and gain our sovereignty. You understand? These are two different things. Defeating La Republic militarily is not possible. But we can have a state of Southern Cameroon, putting together our military effort and the constitution that brought us together with La Republic of Cameroon. You understand? We can actually do that. And the second thing I want to ask you is, have you tried to approach other leaders to see if to share your ideas with them about your devolution program? Have you tried to contact other people, other actors? I know they are self-proclaimed actors, but have you tried to contact them to say, okay, this is what we have at hand, how can we do?
Yes, we are engaging other actors as well to explain to them, just like I'm talking to you. We have engaged other major actors within the struggles and movement to inform them about what we are doing. It is a campaign. There will be an official document that will come out. With that official document, people will be able to point out A and B and say that this is exactly what you are talking about. This is exactly what you are proposing. So yes, of course, we have been having this type of informal conversation like I'm having with you with other leaders.
Yeah, and what is the response? Is it positive?
Most of them are positive. There is nobody that we have talked to and is not positive. I think everybody believes in this solution, but as I told you, most of our people, even though they believe in something, they goes back into their political share when they come out and say, okay, this is your thing, this is my own thing, I want my own thing, you want your own thing. So, but that is not unexpected. Like I told you, the organizations that we have, I call them dinosaurs. They are all dinosaurs. Their era have passed. A dinosaur cannot integrate himself even in a zoo. There is no place for a dinosaur, even in the forest, because they will become a danger even to the trees. They eat too much. So I don't think we have any solution from the other groups. I don't think so. I don't think they are going to be productive. Most of them who agree, they will simply not object. But this is a solution that I believe will rally our people. And those groups will either disintegrate because I don't see any of them transforming themselves. It's not possible. I've worked with all groups in Ambazonia, and I can assure you that I have a bet will go to grave with a egg of sea in his hand. And that is true with Sako, that is true with Chris Anu. So
these are just individuals. So to me, they are inconsequential. You know, me, I'm looking at the broad base. I'm looking at the popular mobilization, the grassroots mobilization, which is our people. You understand? You see, we have to make a campaign, and this is what I have been doing, because the strength of this struggle lies in numbers. We have to keep on campaigning and keep pushing and keep sensitizing our people to understand the necessity of working together. Be it your devolution process, be it a constitutional approach, be it a military approach, but there is that key factor, coming together as a people, because a house that is divided cannot stand. Even you, with this approach that you are bringing forth, your main goal is to see Ambazonia a free homeland. It is to uplift the suffering of our people. But let me tell you, if we fail to get the consensus, if we fail to come together as a people in order to achieve what type of solution that is going to take our people out of that suffering, then all our effort has gone for nothing. If today you're pushing like the only solution that is going to bring our people to stop the suffering on ground zero, and you are not able to convince these other people, your effort also will be wasted, because you will not be able to achieve what you intend to achieve. So, in a nutshell, all these things lies in our collaboration, how we have to proceed this thing. It is something that we have to sit down as a people and come up with the consensus and choose something better that is going to be good for us and our people back home. Because the path that you are still taking is still the same. It's like the same path that the other leaders have taken, that people come out with something and then they want to push it like like a private something, or like something that belongs to that group. No, we have to change that approach. Our approach has to be a community approach, just like the struggle kick-started in 2016. It was a popular grassroots mobilization strategy. Until we attain that objective, that we can start talking about possibility of seeing how we can achieve something from our people. Because the present stage as we this struggle is the bad faith, the ingenuity of the characters or the actors of this struggle is that if somebody brings something, no matter how good it is, they want to destroy it. So I think that sensitization and campaign for the people of Southern Cameroon to sit together and chant a way forward, a possible way forward that is going to benefit our people, is very important. And I want to propose to you that, since I think you don't have an in-depth of the constitutional approach, coupled with what you have, but I think that if you want, I can invite you. We can always. I can invite you in a forum or in a Zoom, so that we can debrief ourselves about this constitutional approach, so that we can see how we can incorporate the idea that you already have, or what the international community has proposed, and what we also got from the other side, because we also have people on the other side who are also willing to help Ambazonia on the constitutional approach in cooperation with what we are going through on the ground militarily. You understand? So it cannot be only one way side. So if you are already pushing a path towards that direction that is positive, I think we have to merge this thing together as a people and see what is good. Pick out the relevant things and then, present each to that same partners, because the people that you have that they are pushing, international community is big. Dynamic does change according to things that happen. You may have Britain and America today behind you, and maybe the other side, they have just maybe small Equatorial Guinea or South Africa. But tomorrow the dynamics change, and you realize that the same Britain and France that were behind you, they can change on the other side. So I believe in consensus, and I believe in shared knowledge, because it's only through that we can have something that is going to protect our people. That is my own, it's my opinion. It's also something that I want you to look into as you are moving forward with your own little effort to see that, okay, we, uplift the suffering on our people in Ground Zero.
Yeah, I want to just point something at you. I've heard you. There's one thing. Laws are like agreements. Laws are agreements made between people. And consider this. You get into an agreement with somebody, you say, okay, I want this, we'll make this arrangement. I want this and this and this and this. And the person hold your thing. Tomorrow you come and you are saying that, oh, we agree this, you agree this, we agree that, you say that you do like this, you do like this. The guy told them, no, I know give a thing for you. You do it, you no get power. If you beat me, I hold your thing. I know give. You like you quote all agreement. I be done talk, say, okay, yes, I be done talk, but I know give. I the use you na shishia. That's the constitution day. Constitution, like I told you, is backed by power and the military. That's why every sovereign country have a power of military. If I've discussed with Edwin Gang and hear their constitutional argument and the basis, or they talk about the High Court case in Bamenda and this court and this court. We have studied the judgment of the Banjul court and we have seen the weaknesses of our case there. If you think that the constitutional approach, what constitutional approach are you talking about? You'll be quoting Constitution of 1961, where the constitution currently in the United Nations is the Constitution of 1996. You'll be quoting that constitution where you want to address a problem in court. A legal problem is used, the instrument is a writ. What is going to be your complaint? That there was an injustice done in 1960, and what is your remedies you are seeking? That they will revoke a sovereign power, a sovereign state. So is that possible? How do you think you can win?
No.
I want you to tell me.
How did Gambia separate? How did Kosovo? How did this other country? We have seen recent countries in recent years that are separate. Our case cannot be different.
Let me give you the reason why Gambia and Senegal they separated. They separated because they had a document. They had a document on their basis for union. They didn't unite through a constitutional union like us with La Republique. They had a basis for their union. That is why Cameroon made everything possible for us to unite through that same means. So Kosovo have not been recognized, and even though they have been recognized by America, they have not been recognized by the United Nations. So they are not an independent country, no matter whether they jump up or they come back. So you can see that even America have limitations when it comes to international law.
But does Kosovo enjoy an exclusive life and comfortable way they are, even though they have not recognized? Does their captivity, does Czech still infiltrate or control Kosovo? No.
Because they have, let me give you the example now. They have military power to control their territory. It's just like Somaliland, they have military power to control their territory. Ambazonia, we don't even control a street. We don't even have recognition. We don't even have recognition even from journalists within our territory, even journalists in our territory. We have isolated even our own musicians. Even musicians don't even recognize us. They don't support us because our hardliners have driven away everybody. Our politics have irritated everybody, made everybody an enemy. So how can you even compare us with Kosovo or any example in the war? Because before you want to compare something...
That is why I'm telling you that the fact that we have made this mistake for 8 years does not mean that we cannot control it. We cannot repair the damage. If really we are willing, just like you talk about genuinity today, if really we are genuine, this damage can be repaired. I think you grew up, like you said, you grew up in Amanda. You understand? You must have heard about Bonga. We heard about a lot of story about Bonga, who used to, buy cases from poor people and then take them to court and then win them. Why do you think Bonga was actually doing those things? You put an example here that constitution is all about power. It's true. You can buy a case of somebody who that person is powerless. Because you have power, you can push and still succeed and get justice for that person. So I don't want you to limit yourself that, okay, at this point
I want to tell what approach can a constitution give us a freedom?
Listen, when you go, there are certain cases, for example, when you take a case to a lawyer, right? Despite the fact that lawyers, their main goal is to make their money, they don't care sometimes when you lose or you win. But when you take your case to a genuine lawyer who understands his job and he's studying your case and he wants to be genuine with you, even if it's the case that he knows that logically this person has this right, no matter what has happened, he will put his interest in there. He will weigh in because he knows that what he's going in is injustice and he can reverse and bring justice back to that person. The American knows that we are under subjugation. La Republique himself has acknowledged, just like you mentioned in that he went to France. that they were trying to assimilate us. It is an identity, how do they call it? An identity problem. The international community cannot ignore our identity because even in their own text, even in the United Nations, these arguments can be proven. We just need to convince people to understand, or nations to understand that they can support us, and we get it done. Because
that is what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm telling you, that it is not possible for us to convince anybody. We cannot even convince a journalist in Bamenda or a journalist in Kumba to support us. What is the chances for us to convince any country to support us for independence or to support us in constitutional case? If you talk about buying lawyer, imagine the resources that Cameroon have. If it is about connection, imagine the connections that they have. They are a sovereign. They are holding the sovereignty of both territories. So there is absolutely, if you are the constitution, I want to hear from you directly. The constitutional approach that you are talking about, is it to sue Cameroon because constitution is a matter of law? Is it to sue Cameroon? Is it to go and talk in the United Nations? You know that the 110 countries have given their opinion in the United Nations during the informal conversation that took place in the Security Council. I've given our people the documents. I've given a presentation about what every country have said. Every country, South Africa, Russia, are all against us. They didn't. Russia even give a warning. Can you imagine a country that Russia supports, the US support, South Africa support? So who Nigeria supports Cameroon? Who can you convince, given our internal dynamic, given our military weakness?
Okay, good. Capo Daniel, the question I want to ask you before I answer this question, because the response from this question will actually pave the way for me to answer the question you are asking. The question I want to ask you is that why is it that the international community have distanced themselves from us and they have said that they cannot support us in any way for us to get freedom, and we cannot convince them? Why have they taken that stand? Why have they taken that?
There are three main reasons. The first reason they have given is that we are not in line or in conformity with international law, both the African Union laws and the United Nations law. The second they have given is our internal dynamic. Our internal dynamic have transformed the perception of the war. They look at the war as a war which is barbaric. We're having violence against our own, and those are well documented. The third one is the viability. We do not have the capacity. We have not developed the capacity by ourselves. That means that for anybody to support us to go forward, the person will have to directly take the responsibility. Nobody's willing to take the responsibility. Those are the three main reasons. So for we to change these three reasons, one, to conform with international law, to conform with the African law, we need to abandon certain things that we have that are not right. Number two,
like what?
The first thing that we are doing is not right is the extreme idea that our people are pushing, that we have never been a part of Cameroon. We are not a part of Cameroon. We do not recognize Cameroon's sovereignty. Those extreme positions, we have to change them and just tell the truth the way it is. Because if we are not in conformity with international law, we are not in conformity with African laws, then we are seen like outlaws. No responsible nation will be able to speak on our behalf if that is the positions we assume. When it comes to the issue of our internal dynamic does not work in our favor, where people have claimed exclusive right, like I have told you. Chris Ano goes to talk to people, they tell them that I am the only government. It happens in America, where they call Ambazonian leaders to come and address the Senate in front of the State Department and also the House. They came there, everybody was talking in his own way, and there were not correlation amongst them. Everybody was trying to claim one solution. There is not even a way for them to have a conversation with us. So how can you solve this problem? You get into a negotiation, Chris Ano will come and say, Namia be president. Sako can talk to Namia be president. Ayabachu can talk to Namia be commander-in-chief. Then turn back to say commander-in-chief now also president. So how do you solve this internal dynamic? Because people see it as a danger. They have seen us declare war. You know, for even though we don't have arms, but when the international see us declaring war against each other, seeing us threatening each other every day on the ground with forces, the perception they have is that this thing is Irania.
Okay.
So
Okay, Capo Daniel, even the part that you are pursuing, you are still pursuing this part still inside this internal dynamic, because in everything that you have explained, I don't see how you're going to solve the problem of this internal dynamic.
I will not
So you will see that.
let me explain to you now. I will not solve the internal dynamic. I don't intend to solve the internal dynamic. Because I know that it cannot be solved. The approach I have chosen is on that assumption that the internal dynamic cannot be solved, and I will not wait for it forever. I intend to pursue public interest, believing that the public will governize themselves around their interests and they will support something that will work for them. So I'm pursuing this.
We are saying one and the same thing on Capo Daniel. We are saying one and the same thing.
The difference between what I'm saying and what you are saying is this. You are saying that we should not use groups. We should do it in consensus. But I'm saying that it is not possible for us to have consensus because the internal dynamic does not allow for us to have consensus. For me, and I also believe that you must be organized. You must organize people in an organization around their common thinking, because you cannot say the whole population will go and represent themselves. They need to organize themselves.
Of course, I understand.
Yes, so I am organizing. I'm organizing through my organization people that believe in this approach to pursue it, and we hope that those who are convinced by it will endorse it and support it. And if those who do not even endorse it or support it will have to do so for them to have any benefit from it, because if we have an autonomy tomorrow and we have to go back home to stay in our country, those people who wants to benefit from it, they must sign on to it. They must, otherwise they will not be able to benefit from it. If we have an amnesty for us to be able to go back home, those who do not ascribe to such solution will not be able to come over, because there will be a threat. You know, we have suffered. The Rantoxin monkey walk baboon chop. It will not be like that, because we have suffered a lot. People who are threatening us, people who are throwing stone on us, will not be allowed to come close to us to come and throw stone. It will never happen. Those who believe that we are traitors and we are doing this thing because we have eaten money, tomorrow if they hear that amnesty has come, self-governance have come, they want to come back to that country, no, they will be considered as extremists. They will be a threat to us. When you make peace, sometimes there are people who are never going to support what you are doing. They are going to fight. They are going to be enemies of peace anyway, because they are not fighting for the population. They are fighting for their groups, and so long as they don't have what they are fighting, so long as the ones who are fighting that their own job is to bring you down, so long as they don't succeed, they will continue to be a threat, and we will treat them as a threat. That's why I have labeled Ayabacho as an extremist and the Egg of Sea as an extremist group, because they pose a threat to the solutions of our struggle. And anybody who pursue that path will be seen as a threat, because they are a threat. It's not just talk. They have killed people on the ground who are struggling to support what we are doing. They have isolated. They have killed soldiers who believe in me and they know they are loyal to me. They are trying to do that. So
Capo Daniel, at the end of the day, you will still see we are still spinning in the circle, because if you can governize the people, you can governize at least a handful of people to take their destiny in their hands, and that influence work. Then that influence can also work towards galvanizing the people towards complete self-determination or complete independence. That is the point I'm trying to make. You understand? Because if you struggle to galvanize, these other people also have followers. They also have, despite the fact that they are extremists and whatsoever, there are people who are extremists who are following them, who are part of the masses. But now we cannot get a consensus because everybody is pulling their own factor. That's why I'm saying that we have to work. When I say we have a consensus, it's not possible that everybody can agree, no. But if we can have at least 40% or even 50% of the voices of our masses taking their future into their hand, at least it will add mass or overshadow the voice of these other people you call them extremists. And from there, we can start from there. We must not only get that consensus if we want to get a devaluation. We can also get that consensus if we stand for our right independence. The first thing that lacks in this struggle is that collectiveness. And that is the problem that you also are facing, because if it was something that was easy to get, you will not need to campaign for it. You will just go on with the idea and get it. But you have the idea, you still need to campaign for it. That's why I'm saying that the campaign of bringing our people together, I don't want you to limit yourself that it cannot work. This is the point I'm making. I don't want you to limit yourself that it cannot work. If we succeed, the only problem we have in this struggle is that we are in disarray. Forget about the issue that they said we are not in conformity of the law. I don't know the law they are talking about. The United Nations is saying that we are not in conformity of which law? I don't know the law. Secondly, the position that we have taken. Thirdly, you've talked about which saying that we did not recognize, we have never recognized. Actually, people are saying that Cameroon, we don't recognize the sovereignty of Cameroon. Forget about that. It's because I've not read that constitution. Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make here is that your devaluation or whatever, if we can successfully galvanize our people, because the only way you can also choose this devaluation is when you get a handful of people that support it, which the international community can push like the interest of the people. Because without that, you alone, they cannot give you alone a devaluation, except you want to. You are saying that okay, it's just an amnesty for your own self. But if it is an amnesty for the people, a devaluation for the people that is going to benefit them, you still need that consensus. So our detriment, our failure in this struggle is the fact that our internal dynamic, we are in disarray. We are in disarray. This is the problem that we have. And our campaign should be about galvanizing our people. I'm not talking about leaders, Capo. Forget about leaders. I'm talking about the people, the same people you are fighting for. Let's galvanize our people and let them choose their fate. Let them choose their fate. That's the point.
Yeah, we are galvanizing them as we are talking now, engaging them. And the majority of our people, it's not about me. It's not about me. It's not about my organization. I represent the most influential voice right now in our public sphere. And that goes with the influence of our people. So it's not about me. It's not me alone. We have the biggest voice. This is the solution that is attainable. This is the most entertained solution internationally. And my voice represents a credible voice for our people. I'm not just somebody who is talking and giving an opinion. I represent the movement as any other person will represent it in a very high degree of influence. So I've served in many capacity. I've built capacity. I've led solutions in our struggle, and I'm pursuing it, knowing that we need everybody to come on board. It's not something I'm saying we want everybody to come on board, but we also acknowledge the fact that there are some people who are not going to come. And we are not going to force them. You cannot take a horse and you force it to drink water. Those who I believe eventually, just like you have been very open to listen and have this engagement with people in your platform, in your forum there. That is how reasonable people will come around. And I hope you also come around to support what we are doing, because I really do believe that
if it is good for the people, that is why I've called you to understand. If it is good for the people, why will I not come around? Are we not fighting for the interest of the people? We are fighting for the interest of the people, Capo. It's not all about you, like you said. It's not all about me. It's all about the people. So I don't know if you have time. I would like us to maybe create time to discuss this, your devaluation, and also discuss the constitutional approach and see how we can merge this thing to work together for the interest of our people. I don't know if you can create that time.
Yeah, of course we can create time.
Okay.
Maybe just let me know when you're available. Let me see if I'm also available at the same time.
Okay, no problem. This call has been very long. It's almost we've been talking almost for 45 minutes or even an hour. Let me know. Take your time. I think in the process of debriefing us about the devaluation, we can have enough time to debate some of these things and then look into it.
Okay.
So thank you very much for this call. It's very important. Okay. And anyway, just keep on doing what you are doing. I beg you, of immediate that just need them to at least, despite their extreme position, they are also trying in their own way.
Yeah, the
just
thing is
no
that
distract
the
yourself.
thing is that if somebody, you cannot leave somebody alone if the person is disturbing you. You know, these are people who have decided to do disinformation campaign, and it is a very dangerous thing for our population. So if you, I'm a counter puncher. If you are there trying to destroy something that is good based on lies, not in any sensible logic, I'll be calling you out. And if you are there trying to destroy our population on the ground, it will affect our struggle. So there will be no way I'll stay quiet. If they are there killing, executing people on the street, I'll talk about it. There will be no let off from anybody who tries to destroy it as much as they choose to. If the AGOFC decides to be behaving themselves tomorrow, they will be left alone. Who actually cares about this short man in Norway? It's just that he comes out. If you come out and you are trying to throw stone on my zinc, I will not say that I will leave you alone. I'll come out, I'll use my own rubber gun on you. So, but we are not interested in that. We are not interested in that. But you know, when they do that, they have to know that I can punch.
As much as you are shooting that rubber gun, keep your doors open. Based on my critique with you, I could never believe that we can converse, we can talk, and we can agree on certain things, debate on certain things, argue on certain things. It's how genuine I am, and it's how open I am. So I understand your point. Yeah, you are just like me. You cannot punch me and I stay quiet, but always keep that open door. Ayabacho will come to his senses. He likes Ambazonia.
Yeah, if he's genuinely like Ambazonia, he should come to his senses. That one, trust me. You see, even when I'm somebody that I will fight for every Ambazonia to my last blood, including the ones who are stupid and wicked. That's why when you see this chief who came up and was making a video attacking Ayabacho, I was the first person to go and defend him. Because for me, this is not about him alone. He is a citizen. So I defend him. I will defend every Ambazonia, no matter the differences we have or how personal it gets. But for the murders of our people, those who have committed murder, if they don't if they will look for a way to bring justice. Because don't think that the people who have been killed in this struggle, their blood will just go like that. It will not happen. Those murders that they have murdered,
everybody will have to pay the price.
Yes, those murders, they have murdered people on the ground, they will have to pay. This Pa that they have killed in Pachetano, the two people they executed in Gozang, all those people, they were executed because of their instructions. The evidence are there. We have all the evidence. We will bring them justice, including those who kill ADF soldiers also in Bui. Anybody who commit murder will have to answer. Anybody who commit rape will have to answer. So
I hope you are not exempting yourself, because
of course I've never like I have told you. Yeah, they can point finger. It doesn't matter. In this our struggle, anybody use pointing finger to cover up their own crimes. If somebody have any crime that they think I've ever committed, they can point it out. What crime have I ever committed? None. I will never commit a crime. It's not in my nature. It's not in my nature. I don't have the capacity to commit a crime. You can go back and look in my history. I'm a religious person. I have faith in God. So why would I kill somebody? Unless it is a Cameroon military and we have made the case that it is right to kill somebody during war. You know? Why would I kill somebody? Why would I organize to betray somebody? You know, it will never happen. People just imagine things. But those who know me personally, go and ask Chia Martin. Those who know me personally would testify. Why do you think all those soldiers, they still come to me and talk? This guy, they come out and say, don't talk to Capo Daniel, don't do this one. Why? Because people know people. People have a discerning spirit. They can feel who is genuine, who is not genuine, who is doing this thing as just like trying their luck, or who is really committed to it. You know. Anyway, my brother, it's nice talking to you. Let's not burn all the time.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's see what is happening in the forum. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Good day. Ciao.